We are honored to have Kevin McNally here, who is a very famous Hollywood actor. How many years have you been an actor?
Well, I'm very sorry to say it's been 52 years.
That's half a century. That's like he's like really,
It's
really.
over half a century, yeah.
Mm.
It's all of your ages combined.
Oh, that's funny.
Daddy,
All right, so yeah.
I do.
So what roles do you know him for?
Parts of the Caribbean.
Correct.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Does anyone else know what other roles besides Pirates of the Caribbean?
Um, I think he was in Doctor Who, like the old version of it, like in the 80s.
That's right, I was. And then I appeared with the 13th Doctor.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, in Flux a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was funny to do a show with 30 years in between, that's for sure. But I got to play a really cool character called Professor Jericho. A really nice character. I loved it.
That's really cool.
With them, what I can't remember her name now. What's her name? Who played the 13th Doctor?
I think it was Jodie something.
Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker. Thank you. And she was great. What a lovely woman to work with.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a cool experience. Yeah, and I watched some of the I didn't watch the older version of it. I watched it like the new adaptation, like from 2005 forwards.
Oh, right, yes, with the sort of more modern ones, the film one.
The 10th Doctor is my favorite personally.
Which one is that? Remind me.
David Tennant.
Oh, he's terrific, yeah. He's a near neighbor of mine, so I see him frequently.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you all for joining me. And if any of you were in the class I did a couple of years ago, nice to see you again. For the rest of you, hello. Very nice to meet you. If I may give a brief introduction, I just want to thank you for the wave, Ashley. I just want to say that I'm really pleased that you're interested in the performing arts. I think all the arts are very important. And I sort of worry sometimes that young people don't get the chance to experience it, in schools. A lot of schools, they don't really concentrate much. And I think they're all important. Acting, obviously, has been my entire life. Dance, music, playing musical instruments. Also art, drawing, painting. These are all things that I enjoy doing.
I wanted to know who has been your favorite character to play, like out of your entire acting career.
Well, that's a hard one. And usually I give a smart answer when they say, what's your favorite character? And I always say, it's the next one, because I hope to keep working all my life. But I did have a great opportunity, even though I've been in some Hollywood films and I've been on TV. When I was growing up, long before all of you were born, there was a wonderful comedian on the radio in England called Tony Hancock. And a friend of mine discovered that 20 of the episodes were missing, and I got to re-record them all on the radio. And now I'm a patron of his Appreciation Society, and my ongoing relationship with this wonderful, it really was an honor for me.
That's awesome.
So that's one of my favorite things, really.
That's awesome.
Playing real people I like anyway, but I got to play a famous prime minister here. I've played some famous people recreating their lives on television. I like that because it's great to research, find out what they were like and what people thought of them. And I've done that. And I've also recreated some other people from famous old comedies in England. So I like that too. I like to think Mr. Gibbs existed somewhere in space and time, but I think it's probably unlikely anybody like Mr. Gibbs ever existed, but we'll see.
That's cool. Who's been your favorite actors to work with?
Oh, well, some of them have died recently, which I'm very upset about. We had a lot of the Harry Potter actors I knew. I knew Alan Rickman, who plays Snape, and Maggie Smith. and also both of the people who played Dumbledore. I knew them both well, and they're both gone now. And also the guy who played what's his name? The big guy.
Hagrid.
Hagrid. I knew him very well as well. But I loved working with Jodie Whittaker, loved working with Johnny Depp. I very rarely worked with anyone I didn't like, really. On the whole, people are very professional, and it's really great to see the different talents they have. Just like you will all have different talents when you start to work and perform, hopefully.
What's your favorite movie of like all time?
Oh, well, I am a big nut for sci-fi, right? So much so that I've written a sci-fi novel that I'm trying to get into a script and direct. But my favorite movie of all time, and I don't know whether any of you will know it, is probably 2001: A Space Odyssey, which was a film from the 1960s directed by the great director Stanley Kubrick. And I just love it, and I love the book. And I always love a film where you can go and read the book, where there's more detail than there can be in the film. So that's my favorite. What about you? What's your favorite film, Sawyer?
I like Batman: The Dark Knight. That's probably my favorite movie.
Well, that fits in with my sci-fi thing. I love that. I of course remember back in the 60s when it was a TV show, sort of a very funny, sort of playful TV show.
One of the Adam.
But I love all the incarnations of Batman. I think he's my favorite, actually.
Well, mine too.
I grew up in the DC world rather than the Marvel world, and I enjoyed Superman, Batman, Daredevil, people like that. I was never that interested in the Marvel universe, really. Although Iron Man, I suppose. That's a Marvel character, isn't it? I like him. And I thought that first Iron Man film was fantastic.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it?
Hello.
Hiya.
One thing I will say, I've actually had some screenwriting experience. I did some screenwriting in college and stuff like that. So
Right.
how hard would you say it is to like get yourself into like the film industry and stuff like that, and kind of, because I've found it very hard to get your foot in the door.
No, you're absolutely right. There's a couple of answers to that. One is I teach a lot, and I get asked this question by people who want to get into the industry, whether it be acting or writing or directing. But I have to say to them that it's hard for me to give advice because it was a very different industry. But I think keep trying. And the interesting thing is for you, Caleb, is that it's much easier. The only thing that's easier now is for you to get together with friends, write and film some stuff on an iPad or a phone. So find people you want to work with who are like-minded. I, for one, during the pandemic, started to work with a lot of young directors and writers who I continue to have a relationship with. And I'm very happy for that because I want to work with the young people who are starting out, So just keep doing it, I think. Have you any particular area you like to write about?
I kind of like to do more like slice of life movies, like things that people can relate to, just like kind of daily struggles, just stuff everyone goes through.
Well,
I've done like
I think that's very good, and it might be one of the problems because nowadays everything is so genre led that those true human stories are often not told. But it's why I think the streaming stories that we've had since Netflix and Apple and all those things started is great because I think Hollywood has become a little bit genre-led, with the Marvel universe. Pirates is part of the problem too. I think Lord of the Rings was probably the first one that, took all the big budgets.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep it up. That's what I say.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I've done a skit in school. I played as Aladdin in a school skit.
Oh, terrific.
Wait for feedback.
Okay, Ellie, now you next.
Uh,
I had a question.
I had a question.
Yep.
What was it like growing up, and like what were you interested in?
Well, always acting. In fact, funny enough, Moses, you just talking about doing a skit at school. A lady got in touch with me 2 days ago saying that she played my wife in a school play when we were 9. And I remembered it really well. So I hope when you're my age, somebody says, "Oh, I saw you in Aladdin back at school." It's very gratifying that people remember those things. But I was also interested in physics, astrophysics, the universe, sun, moon, galaxies, which I think probably then just turned into liking science fiction as I got older.
That's really cool. We saw the eclipse this year. So, yeah.
No, because I wasn't here in the States when it happened. And we haven't had an eclipse in England for a long time because it's so small that it's got to be a really close eclipse for us to see it.
That's actually.
Was it a good one, the eclipse? Who am I talking to? Oh, Ellie.
Say,
Yeah. Was it a good one, the
yes,
eclipse?
we went to where the shadow
Yes, we
was.
went where the
Umbra
was. So
in Texas.
in Texas.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, yeah. So it was a total eclipse. I wish I...
book. Is that correct? A sci-fi inspired book. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. In fact, if any of you like sci-fi, if you get in touch with Yvonne and give her your address, I will send you a copy of my book for free, signed, and you can see if you read it. It's very English humor. I don't know if you're into English humor, but in fact, I based one of the characters on the comedian I was talking about earlier that I play, and the other character I based on one of my favorite characters from fiction, which is a guy called Bertie Wooster, who was in a series of wonderful comic novels. They were written in the 30s and 40s, and I discovered them when I was your age, and they just make me laugh so much. But it's really about two brilliant young students who invent a new form of space travel. Everybody wants it, but very few people want to pay. So they get chased around the solar system by a lot of really bad people and some quite nice people.
That sounds really great.
Yeah, it does. It actually kind of sounds pretty nice to be in. Like participating in sounds really fun.
Yeah. Well, are any of you familiar with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? It's a writer called Douglas Adams. I was sort of a bit inspired by him, comedy sci-fi. I love it. Absolutely love it.
So was that book written with the intention of perhaps being translated into a play, animation, movie?
A film.
And do you think what
It's
happened?
quite hard because they're very expensive films to make. I don't know. I'm working on it. Maybe I could talk to Caleb about him having a go at writing a little bit of it just to see how it goes. I'll send you my book and you can see what you come up with, Caleb. It's a good exercise anyway. I mean, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. I'd love to help adapt because I've adapted a video game before too into a full-length movie.
Well, funny enough, talking about video games, this is something I've discovered recently, is to be a voice in video games. And in fact, when I get back to England, I'm going to be the narrator of a brand new video game that I can't tell you about, but I'm sure you'll hear about it when it comes out.
Oh, that's awesome.
What is it called?
Yeah. I can't tell you because what they do? What they do is they put phony names so that you can't blow it and tell people. They like to release the name when the game's released.
That's cool.
That's really exciting.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I heard you say talk about that you got your guys' experience with performance arts, right? So I actually participated in a performance art class of my sophomore year in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was able to participate.
Great.
We participated in this one play called.
Sorry, Carson, could you speak a bit louder? I'm getting a bit deaf in my old age.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, carry on, Carson.
So, I forget the name of the play, but
right.
It was basically, imagine like Disney princesses combined with Game of Thrones.
Sounds exciting.
So it was sophomore year. Nobody in my class ever participated in a performance art type class. None of them have zero experience.
What role did you play, Carson?
I played. It was a very minor role. Basically, I played as basically, it was how it went. So it was like I was basically one of these guys. I was basically coming out to save the princess, but then get stabbed in the back and actually die.
Oh wow!
It was
a short but brilliant role.
It was. My parents when they saw me do it, they said that I was the loudest one during the play.
Oh, good! I'm glad to hear that.
Speaking of which, my parents called the play a silent film because it was that quiet.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's really all I have to tell. Oh wait, actually, I'm currently wearing a choir shirt.
Oh yeah, I can see that. That's lovely. What a lovely shirt.
I took part in the choir class at my high school.
Great.
Though not like major choir, just like class choir. And
well, it's funny. You talk about having that you were with best voice. A lot of actors, when I teach them, ask me about how they can develop their voices, and I always say that singing is the way to do it, because singing is the way to learn how to project. Because you learn a number of things, and if I might just take a brief side, there are three places your voice comes from. There's down here, and you can feel it down there. There's here, your chest and neck, and there's up here in your head, and that's usually the place to place your voice.
Yeah,
because that's the loudest your voice will ever be.
All right.
I was gonna ask, what are like your go-to strategies for like getting into character and knowing how to portray them or like accurately and like well enough for the screen so that they're like a distinctive character?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's a balance for me. It's a balance between using yourself and then reaching out to somebody else. And usually the way to do that is to think of the people in your life and who might that character remind you of. So you think, this he's not a very nice man, so he reminds me of that school teacher I had at school, so I'm going to introduce a little bit of the maths teacher into it, but I think everybody finds their own way, and I'm not that keen on the sort of teachers who say the way you've got to do it is this, this is the way to act. And you find it yourself. You find out what works for you. And if you try something that doesn't work, discard it. And when you find something that does work, hold it to your heart. Okay. I would say that's probably a rule for life as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that could go for a lot of things. Thank you.
You're welcome, Avalon.
Aisley?
How did you feel on your first act?
Oh, well, I was terrified. I remember it really well, going on stage in front of 900 people at my local theater, and I was really terrified. But I rapidly, as we say, got the bug, and I just wanted to keep doing that the whole time. I used to love watching theater when I was a kid. That's sort of what made me want to do it. And I guess more and more people grow up on film now rather than theater, and I certainly have moved towards film. But I think the short answer is I felt terrified. And it's interesting being an actor, Isley, because so many people in the world probably only go in front of an audience once or twice, to give a speech or to address a bunch of people. But we have to learn to do it all the time, which is really interesting. How about you? Have you been on the stage?
Well, um, um, I've been in front of my class. Louder. I've been in front of my class and
Oh, right.
playing it for my class.
The piano doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I was playing the piano.
Oh, okay. And how did you feel about it? Were you nervous?
Not really.
Oh, good.
And I also did it like one more time.
Okay.
And then I went on my Christmas performance,
Oh, lovely.
like telling like jokes and then singing Merry Christmas or something else.
Nice. Well, you keep it up. And maybe one day you could be my great, great, great granddaughter. Where am I from? I'm from England, Bristol, England, which was a famous port in the 18th century. And that's sort of where I got my accent from Mr. Gibbs, because a lot of pirates lived in Bristol. Not when I was born, but before I was born, there was a lot of pirates in Bristol. Question for me, Audrey?
Yeah, did you have to use a green screen during filming? A green screen?
In Pirates? Or any time, you mean?
No, when you're filming.
Yeah, well, when I started working in movies, there was no such thing as green screen. And later on, in more recent years, a lot of green screen. And I've got to say, it takes a lot of the fun out of acting, because it's really nice to get up and get on a boat and go somewhere and film in a real place. But when you just go into a green studio all day, it can get very boring, I have to say. So if I get to, for instance, if I get to make my sci-fi film, I'm going to do it all in real places and with models and not CGI and not green screen, because I think it takes the fun out of it for me and for the audience, I think. But it's interesting. I do teach at a class that teaches green screen and teaches the very new thing of LCD screens, these huge screens you act in front of, so you can actually see the location that you're at. And I think that was invented for The Mandalorian, I think. It was the first one they did. And that is a very exciting development, because it's better than green screen and you feel like you're in a real place, But thank you. It's a very good question, Audrey.
Phoebe, your turn. What question do you have?
Hi, Phoebe.
Is acting fun?
Well, most of the time, yes. But sometimes it can be a bit difficult, But I can give you an example. I've been on a boat with buckets of water being thrown over me, with rain and with wind machines at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I can't say that is fun, to be wet and cold. But when you finally see the scene and it looks like you're at sea and the boat's going, then it's fun to watch. It's not necessarily fun to do. But on the whole, acting is fun. It's up to you to make it fun, really, and enjoy it. But thank you. Another good question, Audrey. Thank you.
Go ahead. What was your favorite voice acting job that you had to do?
Well, I do a TV show over here called The Wing Feather Saga.
I told you! He loves The Wing Feather Saga. He actually reads the book.
Oh, you read the books. They're good, aren't they?
I just read the first one.
I voiced the grandfather, Podo.
Oh,
I play him like an American pirate. He's great.
That's
Everybody
really
like it.
wonderful.
And I'm just working on the 3rd series now.
Oh wow, we got gifted that book over the summer from a family member who
Oh,
really
terrific!
loved it.
I must read them myself because it's been so fun to do the show, and apparently the books are lovely. So I'd love to read that.
Yes.
My dog Kita here is adorable, and she knows how to howl when we say werewolves of London.
Sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we think it's adorable, and she can smile.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic.
Do you have any really funny stories to share about your time as an actor?
Yes, I do. You know the time I was saying that wasn't fun with the buckets of water and the spray in the wind? Well, it was a scene with Johnny Depp, and we rehearsed it a couple of times. And then they sent us away and they said, put on your wetsuits so you don't get wet and cold. And so we all trottled off. And Johnny said to me, a word of advice, Kevin. He said, don't put on the wetsuit. It makes you look fat. So I went away and I came back. And then Johnny said, did you put on the wetsuit? I said, no. And he pulled open his shirt, showed his wetsuit and said, sucker. I was freezing the whole night.
That is
so
hilarious.
He really tricked me. I've never forgiven him, and I'm going to get him back one day.
What's your favorite emotion?
Oh, favorite emotion? I think it's anger.
Anger? Why?
As an actor, yeah, because it gives you a chance to really go for something that you try not to do in life, you know. So I like anger. I love acting bad people because you see so many of them about bad people. They're the greatest part sometimes, you know. What's your favorite emotion, Ezekiel?
My favorite emotion is happy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, happy's lovely. I like happy in life, but I'm not so interested in happy in acting.
I have 2 favorite emotions.
Go on.
Anxiety and happy.
Anxiety and happy. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I suppose anxiety is an emotion, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Be interesting to do both happy and anxious. Can you do happy and anxious? Maybe that would be the way to do it. I don't know.
You do both?
I shall work on that, Ezekiel, and next time we work together, I'll try to work on my anxiety and happiness. I'm only acting, Ezekiel. It's okay.
I think I have 3.
Yeah.
Fear, yeah.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I had to do that when we nearly got eaten by the Kraken once in Pirates of the Caribbean. I was really good at it. Yeah, it made my stomach turn with the fear. The only other exercise I would say would be in reference to Ezekiel's question, which is trying to convincingly do emotions that you're not feeling at the moment. So I don't know. Can we do angry, everyone? Do angry, all of you. Go on. Nice one. They're very good. Oh, look at that one. Isley, that's good. Caleb, I could see you getting angry there. Carson, very good. Moses and Ellie are raising their hands. I think obviously hands is to do with anger. Great. And what about here's another exercise. If you go to work and you're filming and you're not feeling particularly happy, can you fake a laugh? Like that. Can you do that? Oh, Carson, very good. Yeah, very good, Caleb. Avalon. That's nice. I like that one. That's very good.
So we have American students in this class, and I was hoping you could teach them the British accent. Say a few words that are very British.
Well, I have, there's an American friend of mine who I'm actually going to see next week, and she finds my English accent very funny. And the funniest thing she finds is that when maybe somebody gives me a meal or a drink in a restaurant, most people go, thank you. In American, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And she takes the mickey out of me, which means to really take the mickey, because she says, she does an impression of me, which is, so somebody comes and hands me a drink and I say, thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, to give it a try, saying what I say when a waiter gives me a drink. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Very
much.
good.
It's like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Like a British accent.
Isley, you got
Thank
that
you
one?
so much.
Very good. Moses and Ellie should give it a try next.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's very good. You even put my old accent.
That was really
in.
good.
Really good, wasn't it? Carson, do you want to give it a try?
There you go.
No, Carson doesn't want to try it.
What?
Do you want to try imitating my English accent, saying thank you so much?
Oh, thank you so much. It's a very delightful evening.
Very good. And he improved on it as well. It's been a very delightful evening, but I'm afraid I have to go home to bed.
So cross.
That's very good, Carson. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Very good. You sound a bit more German, actually, than you were English.
Really?
Thank you so much.
A bit more
Mia?
than actually.
You want to-
Thank you very much.
That's very good. That's very good. Sawyer, do you want to crack?
Thank you so much.
Oh, very good. That wasn't even exaggerated. That sounded like you were English. Yeah? Brilliant. I always, when I'm acting in the United States, I always try to use an American accent because I don't want to have to play people like that. So I like to play Americans, which is really nice. And I've been practicing all my American accents from all over the States. I'm coming to Arizona again, usually probably to do a Comic-Con or something. I will let Yvonne know and we'll all meet up and have an in-person class. Should we do that?
I'm in like the fall or the winter.
Yes, I'm not coming in the summer. I refuse point blank to do it.
Thank you a
Good
lot
choice.
of money to be in a major blockbuster movie. You obviously come out, right? Anything for a major
That
role.
would get me out there, yeah. That would get me out there.
Have you played
But
a
it's interesting.
cowboy? Or
Yes, I got to do that last year for the first time, and I got the hat. It was very funny because the guy said to me, "We want you to play the sheriff in our new cowboy movie," and I said, "I guess if you're asking me to play the sheriff at my age, he doesn't survive very long." And the guy said, "No, he gets shot after 17 minutes," but it was still really enjoyable. I also had a proviso because I said, "All right, have I got a hat?" He says, "Yeah, you got a great hat." I said, "Have I got a gun?" He says, "Yeah, you've got a great gun." I said, "Do I have a horse?" He said, "There's no scene with you on a horse." I said, "Get me a horse and write a scene because I'm not going back to England and saying I've just paid a cowboy and they say, 'What was your horse called?' And I say, 'I didn't have one.' They'll go, 'Well, then you didn't play a cowboy, did you? Cowboy's got to be on a horse, right?" And the next thing I want to do.
Sorry, was it a real gun that they gave you? Was it a fake one?
It was a real one, but that terrible incident on Rust had happened. So we had to just mime shooting, and they would put the blast in later and put the sound on later. There were no even blank bullets involved because of that terrible incident when that lady got shot. Which to this day, I don't know how it happened because usually film sets are really safe like that. So that was bad.
Maybe like a bit forward, but if Yvonne was able to find a way would I be able to send you a few of my scripts
Yes,
that
of
I've
course.
written?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I would
I'd
love
love to read them. Yeah,
some
yeah.
feedback or anything like
Very,
that.
very much. And I like doing that. I like getting young people's what they're into, what they're writing. It keeps my brain
For
fresh.
sure.
So yes, and in return, I'll send you my
Oh,
book.
awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so
All right.
very much for having us.
Well, thank you so much for being in my class, and I look forward to meeting you all again very soon.
All right. So did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Oh yes, we certainly did.
Oh, yes, we did. We did.
Very good, Mia.
We did.
Yeah, very good. All right. Listen, I've got another meeting to do, and then I'm going to go to a bar, order a beer, and what am I going to say to the waiter?
Thank you very much.
Well done. It was lovely to see you all, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Lauren, for
you
arranging
very
this.
much. Thomas.
Sort out any questions.
Bye.
Give them the contacts on social media so they can get in touch. And it'd be
All
great.
right. Let's say thank
All right. Bye bye.
you. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.